globally. We've got geopolitical situations. We've got all kinds of things going on around us. So it's been a very interesting 6 months. I can tell you that.
Yeah, well, interesting is a nice way to put it. Etihad, of course, has been very proactive in its response. I saw the sanitization videos that you had released right after you were, taking the big steps of grounding the whole fleet, of course, working with the country. What's worked and what's not worked in all that you've tried?
Well, you know what? I think the entire industry is going to have a lot of lessons out of this. Etihad will be one carrier who certainly learns from a situation like this. The reality is no one's ever experienced anything even close. SARS, MERS, 9/11, the Iceland ash cloud. Nothing has even been close to this. So, I don't know that any carrier was even remotely prepared. And not just carrier, it's the entire industry. And then if you think of tourism and the impact globally on tourism, if you think of the economy, if you think of the hundreds of thousands, in fact, millions of jobs that have been impacted by this, no one was prepared for this. And what I will say is we have a phenomenal team here at Etihad, and they have absolutely taken this on full bore. We've led the way in a number of different areas in terms of how we've reacted to this. We're taking the opportunity to retrofit some of our aircraft, clean up our aircraft, get our fleet ready for when we're back in the air. Our sales folks are out talking to our travel partners, making sure that we hang on to those relationships and maintain those relationships. We've been very active in social media. Our marketing team is doing a phenomenal job talking about what's going on in the country, communicating what we're doing as an airline, communicating what Abu Dhabi Inc. and the country, as well as the Emirate of Abu Dhabi, is doing for travelers, for tourism, and all of our stakeholders. So, I would say that we will definitely take some lessons away from this. And I think of carriers around the world, Etihad is one of those carriers that will come out of this, and will be very strong when we come out of this. But, we will definitely have some lessons learned.
Right, definitely. I saw you partnering with influencers to showcase the sanitization videos. I've seen a lot of crew videos, which is rare for typically the Middle East carriers, which tend to be on the premium, highly polished videos. Is this planned, or is this just things that are coming up as you go?
No, you know what? We're trying to, a good way to describe it is we're trying to humanize the airline. This is a global situation, and it's impacted every single person on the planet. It's impacted our crew, it's impacted our leadership, it's impacted our every part of our business, whether they're ground handling, whether they're vendors, whether they're partners. We're trying to build relationships with everyone that touches our business. Amina and her team and the marketing team and our social media team are doing a phenomenal job in terms of humanizing the airline and empathizing not only for our employees. Think of our employees. These guys are in the front line. They're flying on these airplanes, and they continue to service our customers and our guests on every single flight. And so, we want everyone to understand that we're all in this together, and we're trying to be as empathetic as we can, and try to tell a story of how it's impacting us, how it's impacting our employees, how it impacts the country, and how it impacts the airline. So, and most importantly, how it impacts the industry. So, that's, I think, the key messages that Amina and her team are trying to get out.
That is brilliant, because empathy, humanizing the brand, these are values that will stay regardless of where you're flying, how much you're charging, whether people are on board or not, because it's about people. And it's commendable that Etihad is focusing on that. Now, you're, of course, in charge of sales and distribution, and sales have fallen off a cliff. What is your team doing to ensure that this doesn't become an L-shaped recovery, but hopefully a U or a V-shaped recovery?
Yeah, you know what? I think the important thing for us is just to keep our relationships active, reach out to our partners and our customers, make sure that they understand we're here for the long term. I would certainly not say this is the most significant KPI I've ever delivered, which is negative revenue. And every airline is in the same boat. So I probably won't put this on my resume going forward, this negative revenue period. But what we will put on our resume is the recovery. And, we are very, very prepared. When the lights go back on, we are ready. to work with our partners. We're ready to work with the travel industry. We're ready to work with tourism boards. Our marketing folks have done a phenomenal job in terms of building up messaging and product. Our revenue management team is ready from a pricing perspective. Our operations folks are ready to turn the lights on. We've got a fleet that's ready to go. We've got crew that are ready to go. So when the lights do go on and countries do start to fly and people get that confidence, we're going to be well prepared. Well prepared is exactly what you're doing. I saw the pilot with Elenium, where there's a kiosk that can detect your temperature. When I posted it on LinkedIn, some people said it's fake news. Now, is that fake news or is that for real? No, that's for real. You know what? Again, I think if you think of Etihad as a leader in the industry, we're trying to find ways that travelers can travel with confidence, our crew can fly with confidence, and that we're boarding people who are eligible and healthy to fly. Our employees are our utmost concern. Passengers are our concern. We want to make sure that everybody is traveling in a healthy environment, and we're trying to work with different partners that can give us some confidence. Obviously, nothing is 100%, but we certainly want to be one of those carriers that has thought this through. And post-COVID travel, what will that look like? What is the expectation of the customer? How quickly will customers come back and under what conditions? And those are the things that we've challenged our teams with to think about. What is it that we need to do as a carrier to give our customers confidence, give our travel partners confidence, and give our employees confidence that they're traveling in a safe environment when, they're at 30,000 feet, 800 kilometers in the air, and there's 400 people on board. We want to make sure everybody's comfortable. Definitely the steps in the right directions. Just like how there is visa-free travel, or sometimes people can be denied boarding if they don't have the right visa. Do you think people can be denied boarding in the future if they don't have the right health statistics or vital stats? Well, you know what? I think it's something the industry is going to have to think about. So if you think post 9/11 and all of the security requirements that came out of 9/11, I don't think it's unreasonable that governments or regulatory boards will be looking for some kind of health check, and whether or not people have to have a certificate that they've received in the last 24 hours, whether they have to do a temperature check before they get on the aircraft. We know that there's going to be something. And I think as a airline in this industry, we are absolutely thinking that way. And we're thinking about what that does to the airport experience. We're thinking about what that does for the guest experience. There's lots of things that we're working on as an airline to ensure that our customers will travel with us with confidence. Our crew will be able to operate with confidence, that we've done everything we can to create an environment that's safe. Fantastic. What is it that gives you hope for the future? Well, you know what? I think two things. One is I think humanity will wake up and we'll all realize that it's important for us to stay isolated, that we get rid of this virus. I'm absolutely convinced that they will find a vaccine that will deal with this virus. I think that humanity has gone through many scenarios that are global, certainly something that has impacted massive amounts of population. And I think people love to travel. I think that inherently, humans like to travel, they like to move around. Business still will be a big driver of travel, and there's nothing more important than sitting in front of the customer, shaking their hand and seeing the whites of their eyes when you're negotiating a deal or building a relationship. So, I truly believe that travel will come back. I think that it will take time. And I think we as airlines and tourism partners and hotels and car rental companies and tourist boards all have to create an environment where people feel safe to travel. So it's incumbent on a global tourism economy. Governments need to realize how important tourism is and invest in tourism, just like the Abu Dhabi government has here. They've heavily invested in tourism, economic development, cultural exchange, education, and all of those things are supported by a healthy, strong airline industry. Definitely. Well, Duncan, thank you for sharing the perspective, and let's just hope I get to see the white of your eye soon enough. Soon, my friend. Soon, my friend. I'm looking forward to it. Enjoy your time in Mumbai, and I'm looking forward to seeing you back in Canada at some point, or here in Abu Dhabi. We'd love to have you. Yeah, well, I'd go to Canada via Abu Dhabi on the way. Perfect. Come by for a drink.